So here's how some of you are being played out of your money at the moment. First, there's an announcement, a very fancy drop, a trailer of some sort, of something of an NFT art, either a piece or a collection that is coming soon. And you start creating FOMO, and people are eagerly awaiting for this to happen. Then it's dropped, it's sold very low, and then announced as sold out. So the FOMO cycle completes and the industry flourishes. I wonder if you'll find this perspective useful, because what I just said is something of a mixed bag, because at the same time I think it's great. There are also great art pieces that are being sold like that, but there's also a bunch of the equivalent of shitcoins. And I'm hell-bent in my long period view of having been a digital artist for 12 years to keep the collector's interest in mind, because I think that that is the over a period, what makes a career is for us to mutually take care of one another and sometimes say the uncomfortable things. And I looking at this process of how to create FOMO, I think it's amazing, because there weren't eyes on the NFT community just a while ago, or what was happening here. It's not before money came in and people started throwing serious cash around in order for this to become a motion and a movement. But as an artist, I don't have to only speak on behalf of the platforms and their interests. I'm also talking as an individual and as someone who's been a professional creative for 20 years and having seen what I would call this sugar high collecting already in previous iterations in a form or another. And while sugar high collecting is like something is in motion, it looks cool, whatever, you grab it, with sugar highs there comes the crashes. And whether the argument that it was in motion and it was shiny and it was being presented in the great way actually holds the value that you put in there, or does the thing which is that many people are expecting for it to 10x or 100x or whatever, as well as being aesthetically pleasing or something that you like, there's a good sense in having also a conservative part of the argument here. And as I mentioned in the previous video, what's really cool about the whole NFT game is of course the motion part. I mean, there's going to be the Pixar render farms and the tops and the industries that are coming into the collectibles and tokenizing everything that is going to absolutely blow this thing out of the water. And we will be seeing things that we couldn't believe are true. But in the meanwhile, there's a separation in between, I think, with art that holds value as well as what collectibles are and what they do. And what I said at the NFT day is that there's an element to art usually that holds value, that has some sense of danger to it. And that's why crypto art has been cool. It's been hard to make because you need to take stands. And this doesn't necessarily play into the control issues of some people, as well as the commercial issues, because the commercial side of things always wants to or needs to wash away certain controversy in order to maintain a safe corporate environment. And then the artists need to maintain a certain element of danger and pushing the frontier to a degree with their content and expression in order to not only remain relevant, but to really have something to say, because that's where the value of, I believe, much of that thing comes from. So with regards to these drops, and let's say the digital art collecting, because so many things cross over from crypto and Bitcoin into this whole thing, I wonder if this perspective would be helpful to you. Because in the eyes of the world and outside the crypto bubble, let's refer that to the legacy art system, Bitcoin is a very, very new thing. But inside of the community of crypto, BTC is considered almost like a grandmother at this point. It's old tech and this, and there's a million different competing mindsets. But the actual core of a system that can withhold the central banking system attacks and agendas and everything that's been operating for that whole 11 years is that you could say that you can't disrespect your mother or your grandmother. No matter if you're a maxi or not, you should still look at what gave birth to all of this and where it's coming from. And as a digital artist, I've been waiting for a long time for this motion to happen. And it's actually rather easy for me to make my art pieces into motion because they're already in layers, sometimes by the thousands. But I haven't really gotten into making them into motion pieces because I don't want to make motion just for the sake of the motion. The motion needs to add something to the art. Right now, just about everything in crypto art has motion. So that alone, from an investor point of view, when you're making the arguments towards when you're reselling your pieces or saying that they have value, just having motion in an art piece is not much of an argument. So this, I believe, is a useful thing for artists and collectors alike as a perspective when you're looking at the big picture of your career as well as the art that you now have in your vault. Because, for example, when we did our last collaboration with Tone Vase, he commissioned me to do an art piece that I turned his values and his conference idea into a high-resolution digital original that can be made into a motion piece, which it will be later. But now first we sold 3 repaints, and the price of them was tied to Bitcoin, so it's substantial value. It took a long time to create this and a lot of thought. And then publicly, all of them are now sold out. Hey everybody, just getting ready for the unconfiscatable conference. This is the one that is going to be signed by the speakers that are the opening party is here at 5, and what's really dope is that Tone got this extra screen to go along with the piece here, as well as the smaller prints limited to 50, and obviously the big ones are only 3 of them. And it's with a reputational character from the whole space, and the sales were public, and the whole operation was integrated into the ecosystem of crypto, helping the whole space evolve. Now, it's that laborious side of things. It's the quote that, things to really construct, they take time, and in a certain sense, they're boring to do. And I've decided not to go the route. I mean, I'm originally a filmmaker, so I could be making very fancy trailers to these things. I could be doing the sugar high thing, and I think in the short term, I'm doing myself a disservice not utilizing my filmmaker skills in order to do these flashy-looking things that people find quite appealing about things, because I'm looking at the long term. And perhaps it's a little bit more boring in a certain kind of sense, but I think these are the kinds of things that will stand the test of time. I'm here talking in front of you and throwing it out there. And I'm sure there's a bunch of people, because it doesn't serve their interest to be hearing this kind of thing, that are going to be a little bit pissed off at what I have to say. But those whose interest I'm speaking on the behalf of know that this is for your benefit, that I'm doing this. So let's see how things go. Maybe you will see me do a fancy drop of a trailer in the future, but that time is not here yet. So in a certain kind of sense, it really is the FOMO market. It's like the shit coins versus the coins of real integration and real sort of showcases of how they have use in order to become sustainable platforms. And the very same phenomena is going on in crypto art and the NFT collectibles as is in the crypto market to begin with. And you can't only disrespect the sort of FOMO moon boys, because they are in part what help create a whole ecosystem so that it has a viable future. You need the big sales, the resales, and the idea that you truly have only a limited amount of time to get into the good drops, get into the right artists, because the prices are going to get higher and higher. The demand is going to be incredible, and soon you will have some artists that, even if you have big bucks, you have no chance of getting into their ecosystem, because it's not only going to be about money. It's about the partnerships. It's about how much in other ways can you contribute to the career of that artist or being associated to them in order for that to be the best proposition for them to use their limited time on you. Because the one part of the problem of being an artist is that you only have a limited amount of time, and it doesn't, you as an artist doesn't easily scale. I mean, you have people like Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst and those from the more legacy side of things who have whole industries. I mean, they're essentially factories manufacturing these things. And as mentioned, the Pixars are coming in, and I'm very likely to have a team of my own producing my stuff. But I like to keep things very hands-on. And the core of the idea is that if I'm transferring something into value, I haven't found a way around actually using time and energy, getting to know the subject, really taking my processing power in order to compress something that hits home. So I'd encourage other artists to do that as well. Not be so quick to just produce stuff and put it out there and mint it and see who takes it. Is to I know it's painful. It's the time of Corona as well, and many are hurting in a certain kind of sense. It's the pressure is on. No, I get it. But yeah, there's a view to this, that you're in it for the long term, and then there's a view where you're just taking it day by day, and I'm certainly in the first category. I'm here for life.